phase and are now looking to consolidate their growth. The second season now with Xavi. He obviously didn't start at the beginning of last season, but this is his first full season. Joan Laporta's second season in his mandate as well, in his term. And yeah, Barca finished second in La Liga, qualified for the Champions League, so everything to play for this season.
And Franck Kessie, a player who does have Champions League experience from last season, played with the Rossoneri AC Milan in that competition. He comes to bolster the Barca midfield. There's an abundance of names linked with Barca. There's an abundance of names in the squad in midfield. That's fairly well covered. And Kessie, obviously, from the Ivory Coast, he'll be looking to follow in the footsteps of another famous Barcelona midfielder and his fellow countryman, of course, Yaya Touré. He said one of his idols, also relishing the opportunity to work with Xavi Hernandez. He's sure to mention that in the press conference. There's few players, better former players, who it would be better to learn from as a midfielder than Xavi, and he's a real attraction as well, of course, the big name of Barca and the opportunities that this will provide for a player who has plenty of experience across Europe now at just 25 years of age. He has adapted to European football. We're expecting him to slot right in nicely in the centre of the park for the Blaugrana.
Yeah, absolutely. And it does seem that players are almost lining up to come to Barca, right? To be part of Xavi's Barca. And we've seen what he's done last season. A lot of hopes for this season as well. But yeah, like you say, he's a man that knows the midfield inside and out. And so midfielders are clearly keen to find their space there. Franck does come with quite a bit of competition for those midfield spaces. Obviously, there are various rumours in the transfer market about some of the players that do play in those roles. But he's got to be playing alongside the likes of Pedri, Gavi, Sergio Busquets, of course. Some big names there in the Barca midfield that Franck Kessie is going to be competing for minutes.
He is the second player to come in this summer after the arrival of Pablo Torre, who will be coming up to the first team. Expect him to be playing more for the first team than for Barca B as he adapts to the club. And it is a good time for Kessie to arrive. It's just after his contract expired at AC Milan. And it gives him a little bit of time to become familiar with this place, the Camp Tito Villanova, before Barca head off on their travels for the pre-season friendlies. Get some time to train with his future teammates and also to adapt to Xavi's coaching style. He joins today, Andres Christensen tomorrow. Things beginning to take shape for Barca, certain to be more twists and turns before we get to the start of the season on August 12th. But Barca preparing for this campaign, and they will want a better campaign than last season. And there is this optimism around the club at the moment as we see Kessie arriving here from earlier on today. Arrived in Barcelona a couple of days ago.
Yesterday he arrived, yeah. He landed in the Catalan capital.
After much rumours linking him with the club, there he is with a traditional medical. We're seeing footage of him from the other day. All clear for Kessie. We will have the Barca players on their return, all going through the medicals and being assessed for their fitness as well, to get the lay of the land. Xavi will run the rule over them. Then a few interesting games coming up in pre-season for Barca to get ready. They've decided to opt for a very competitive pre-season. They're not just playing against local sides. There are some big games, including some trips stateside.
Yeah, absolutely. They do kick off the pre-season with a friendly against Olot, just up on the Costa Brava. I think that's sort of one of those solidarity sort of good cause matches that was agreed during the pandemic that they finally get around to playing. That's a good opportunity to give the players a stretch of their legs on some relatively home soil. They do then head off for the USA Tour starting in July 19th. They'll be playing against Miami. That'll actually be the 20th here in Barcelona at sort of 1:30 a.m. So for those of you that want to stay up and
join us
for that match on Barca TV+. They then play against Real Madrid in Las Vegas on what will be the 24th here in Barcelona, the 23rd there in Las Vegas in the United States. So that'll be quite the exciting competition. Another European matchup then on the 27th when they'll face Juventus in Dallas before rounding out that US tour against New York Red Bulls in New York on the 30th or the 31st here in Barcelona of July before they head back ready for the start of the season, an early start to the season. Don't forget as well, of course, they've got that charity match against Manchester City.
Coming up on the 24th of August.
Yes.
We will also have the Gamper Trophy, which will be taking place just before the season start. Barca with a clear plan for the preparations for the season. The foreign tours are back to climbs further afield than before. After the COVID-19 pandemic, we've seen Asian tours, we've seen American tours have become something of a fixture pre-pandemic.
Don't forget we had the friendly at the end of the season in Australia as well, the first time Barca were on Aussie turf.
Well, Barca with fans far afield and finally able to play in front of some of them as the pre-season plans take place, but also, as we've said, taking on some of the top European sides to get them in shape for what is going to be a demanding season, as they will be targeting the title this campaign. They'll certainly be looking to get much closer to Real Madrid, last season's La Liga winners, and will be mounting a campaign in the Champions League as well. It's looking promising for Barcelona in terms of where we were last season. There were some real struggles there. There is an optimism about the club.
All set to kick off then here at the Ciudad Esportiva on the Camp Tito Nova. We are here, of course, because the turf at the Camp Nou is being relaid, as it is every summer.
And we do have a few fans in attendance as well who've come down here to the outskirts of Sant Feliu.
Donem ja la benvinguda al nou jugador del Barça, Franck Kessie, acompanyat pel president del Barça, el senyor
Franck Kessie and President Joan Laporta to the pitch.
Well, here he is, the Barcelona president, Joan Laporta, leads out Franck Kessie, who is the new signing for Barcelona. He will be occupying a spot in the midfield for the Blaugrana, and we'll hear from him after a couple of keep-ups for the signing of the contract. And he will be addressing perhaps the fans here first of all, and then maybe some members of the media, and we'll see if that's going to be in French or Italian. We'll be here on hand to translate it, so you can hear his excitement at joining the club. It is something that we almost always see when players join Barca. They always talk about how much they wanted to come to the club, how this is a club, especially at the kind of age where Kessie is, where they lived those amazing years of trebles, Champions League triumphs.
Doncs ja tenim aquí, i abans de la signatura protocolària del seu nou contracte,
Ahead of signing the
vull que el
contract
president
then,
del Barça li faci entrega del carnet que el lligarà ja també com un soci més.
See the membership card is going to be handed over.
as all players have become in this past season. Every player now is also a soci, who is a voting member of FC Barcelona.
Per baix.
A couple of technical difficulties with the box to open it up, but it is presented to Franck Kessie, Barca member for life.
Si tu veux le montrer à la presse.
There we have it.
À partir de ce moment-là, tu fais partie de la famille du Barcelone. Bienvenue.
He has signed for Barcelona through to
Com sabeu,
2026.
però
Next
també
4
parla italià, per tant, a
seasons.
la roda de premsa us podreu adreçar amb ell en l'idioma que més convingueu.
So, and
I ara
just
els
informing the members
convidaré
of the press
ja
that
a fer l'acte de signatura
talking
protocolària.
French or Italian with this player. No doubt he'll be adding Spanish and maybe even Catalan to that repertoire soon enough.
Si voleu anar aquí en aquesta taula per procedir a la signatura del contracte.
Now for the
No,
signing
d'abord la signature.
of the contract here.
Well, the terms already agreed upon. It was a fairly easy negotiation process to bring him here, as they did not have to be negotiations with other clubs. Franck Kessie was very clear that he wanted to come to Barcelona. Ran out his contract at AC Milan, which finished on the 30th of June. Here he is on the 6th of July here at the Ciutat Esportiva, the Camp Tito Villanova, putting pen to paper on the deal which will keep him at the club through to 2026.
I ara, com és habitual, li demanaré al jugador que signi aquesta lona que tenim aquí.
Now the player will
Franck, s'il te plaît, si tu peux signer la toile qui est à l'arrière.
What is that backdrop canvas that has been made?
Serà
Perhaps this will be
subhastada
auctioned
i
off for
la
a
seva
good cause.
recaptació, juntament amb la d'altres objectes, anirà destinada a finançar diferents projectes de la Fundació del Futbol Club Barcelona.
For the cause of the Barca Foundation. Photo, of course. Don't forget you can find all the photos and the inside footage on fcbarcelona.com and Barca TV Plus.
We will be following him behind the scenes as well. We'll get some in-depth interviews with both him and Andres Christensen this week as well to hear their initial reactions to the move. And there we see not just the Barca shirt, but the new Barca shirt for the coming season.
What a Barca shirt it is.
With the new sponsor Spotify on the front as well. On the back, though, Kessie still to be decided what number he is going to wear. But
plenty of speculation there.
Well, whatever number he chooses, big shoes to fill. As he poses with the Barca shirt alongside Joan Laporta. Soon enough, I'm sure that question will come up in the press conference as to what number he would like.
Doncs, en primer lloc, els demanaré una primera impressió, si voleu. I en primer lloc, president, ja arrenca la temporada i ja tenim aquí el primer fitxatge de la temporada 22-23.
Sí, benvingut, Franck Kessie.
He welcomes Franck Kessie.
Estem molt satisfets de la incorporació d'aquest jugador.
Signing of this player.
Un jugador de Costa d'Ivori, centrecampista, migcampista. A més, doncs, ja se'l veu que és un gran professional i estem molt contents de com ha anat aquesta operació. Ell és un jugador que ha volgut sempre venir al Barça. Això, doncs, a nosaltres ja sabeu que ens agrada. Volem jugadors que vulguin venir al Barça, que el Barça sigui el seu objectiu. És un jugador, com he dit, de Costa d'Ivori. Nosaltres doncs, hem tingut també jugadors de Costa d'Ivori que han funcionat molt bé.
Ivory Coast player previously who played very well and worked very well in Barca's team.
El seu representant, George, gràcies per la feina que has fet.
Gratitude to George, his representative.
A la seva família que ha vingut aquí avui.
Also to your family who have come here today. His wife, his mother, his brother.
La seva dona. Gracias. Merci beaucoup pour être ici.
Thank you very much.
Nous sommes très heureux d'avoir Franck avec nous. Et je suis sûr que vous serez très content à Barcelone.
He welcomes them to Barcelona in their native language of French.
La veritat és que
he's sure it's going to be a success, Franck Kessie at the club.
Que volia l'entrenador, de reforçar al mig del camp amb un jugador.
One of the demands of the coach is bringing in reinforcements for the midfield with the characteristics of
Kessie. Crec que s'ha treballat molt bé des del club. Felicitats, Mateu. Felicitats a tot el teu equip. Jordi.
Congratulates
heu treballat també
Jordi and
molt bé.
Mateo for their work for the club to sign this player. Very happy with the work they've done.
Merci.
Welcome to Franck Kessie.
Je suis très heureux d'être ici, très heureux de faire partie de cette grande famille, de ce grand club.
I'm very happy to be part of this big family in this big club.
J'espère faire de grandes choses ici, grâce à votre soutien et tout le monde. Merci.
I hope to do good things here at Barcelona.
El Barça, que està evidentment molt satisfet, molt orgullós d'estar aquí, que espera passar
very satisfied and proud to be part of Football Club Barcelona.
Amb l'equip del Barça. Ara els convidaré que s'adrecin cap al vestidor perquè Franck Kessie s'haurà de vestir de curt i també podreu agafar les primeres imatges ja d'ell. Fem també un rondo amb uns jugadors que també ens acompanyen. Franck, je veux te inviter à aller au vestiaire pour t'habiller.
There will be a wardrobe change. He'll come out and there'll be a few keep-ups, but also a kick-about with some of the players from the Barcelona youth teams.
That's the advantage, I suppose, of doing this sort of presentation here at the training ground.
Oh, there will be no shortage of young players who will want to have a kickabout with Franck Kessie, the new signing.
Absolutely. I did wonder when he kind of came out in that rather flash-looking suit. Yeah, I mean, he's got the shoes for it, but they're a little bit white as well for having a kickabout, how he was going to go for the touches of the ball. It is a little bit wet here in Barcelona, uncharacteristically so.
Well, we shall see whether he comes out with a number on his shirt. Number 79 when at AC Milan. He's also played with the number 19 for the Ivory Coast. But at the moment, still to be decided upon, it seems, what number he will wear. But he will be back out shortly after a quick change of attire. Or whatever the number is, you will be able to buy the Barca shirts on sale as they are unveiled earlier on this summer.
Ferran Torres, of course, is the current number 19. But that could all change as well this season, I suppose. So
no number 79 at the moment. Kessie had actually taken on the number 79 because one of his teammates at AC Milan had the number 19. Might have to adjust. Maybe a number 91 might be on the cards.
Well, these players almost become synonymous with their number over time, and whilst they do change throughout their careers, some of them do like to maintain the same number throughout, and as it becomes a part of their being almost.
Well, in terms of numbers, we do have a few which are certain. The extensive buyout clause that Kessie has, the amount of time on his contract. He will be at Barca through to 2026. A 4-year deal, and one of those clauses just to prevent any clubs from sneaking in and trying to pick up is a player who has been highly rated.
Absolutely. Starting in the youth teams at Bergamo. He soon made his jump to the professional level when he moved to Serie B side Cesena. Where he's played midfield and at centre-back under the Emilia-Romagna club. I know that they've talked about that need for a defensive midfielder to relieve a bit of the pressure on the likes of Sergio Busquets, so maybe we'll see Kessie taking on that kind of role.
It is a role that Barca have tried to fill. It's very important, especially with the kind of attacking football that the Blaugrana play, and sometimes the willingness to push the fullbacks upfield as well. You sometimes need someone to stick back and occupy spots in defence. Also, some of the defensive woes Barca have had in terms of injuries, a player who can maybe cover at times when required. Touch wood, that should not be the case in the coming season. In terms of direct competition, though, the position he occupies is also that played by the likes of Busquets, Pedri, Gavi, Nico Gonzalez, Frenkie de Jong and Ricky Puig. It's going to be interesting to see the competition between the players, but it is going to be a positive. A player as competitive as Kessie is going to thrive on competition. He's certainly not coming here to make up the numbers. Every player who arrives at Barca comes in with the idea, I'm going to be a first-team regular, and we shall see how the season transpires. Well, here we see, once again, the replay of first Kessie's arrival, his medical, which has already been successfully passed, and his presentation here at the Camp Tito Villanova.
Yeah, he'll be ready to kick off the pre-season with Barca in just a week's time. Well, that gets going, starting off with that friendly in Olot before heading stateside for that 2022 Summer US Tour. Here he is, though, with President Joan Laporta just from a few minutes ago.
It is ideal as well for Kessie to come in at this time and have that US Tour. Anybody who's travelled over the summer with people maybe they don't know too well, it's a good opportunity for bonding and team building on a what is maybe a 10-hour flight to get over to the USA. And well, I'm sure his Barca teammates will be welcoming him in to the dressing room. There will be several who speak French, who speak a bit of Italian as well, just to make him feel at home. I'm sure one of his main objectives will be to get au fait with the language, as it were.
I'm sure with French and Italian behind him, he shouldn't have too much problem, certainly with the Catalan.
And with Xavi as well, who has, well, speaks that universal language of football. He's been very, very clear with the players who picked up his concepts very, very quickly. He tends to keep it simple as well, Xavi. We've seen a few changes in from how he played to how he coaches, but he is very set in his ideas. The Barca players have all said that they welcome this clarity in his ideas, and it shouldn't take long for Kessie to take those on board.
I'm sure a lot of the players as well will be looking to Franck Kessie, you know, coming from AC Milan, it's fighting in Europe, but he's got plenty of European experience, plenty of international experience. He's sort of a bit older than this kind of dream team, you know, influx that we had. So they'll be looking to him for a bit of experience maybe as well, and what he could bring to them in terms of, you know, with what he's played in Europe and in Serie A.
And he was a player with extensive experience on the pitch, but also extensive experience with some top-level coaches as well. The likes of Gasparini really took him under his wing, so he have a few tricks and tactics to draw upon. Certainly a player who's used to taking orders in what is a very tactical league, Serie A. We should imagine that he will not have too many problems adapting to Barca, which is so focused on adapting to the Barca style. If you're coachable, it tends to be the most successful route.
Well, that's what both the president, Joan Laporta, and Xavi have spoken about throughout this sort of summer transfer market, is looking for the kind of players that they can coach and bring into this Barca style. And I think, you know, they've made bets on the likes of Franck Kessie for that reason. They see a player that they can adapt and can bring something to the team in that sense as well. Here we are then, all set. We saw the signature just a few moments ago. We've seen a replay of that. We're waiting now for him to come out in his Barca kit. I'm not sure if he'll be wearing the home colours or that glorious golden second kit that they announced just over a week ago. But we'll certainly see him out here, and a few touches of the ball, and yeah, like you say, we might also see him doing some rondos and a kickabout with some of the youth players as well.
We certainly should get used to doing some rondos here at the Camp Tito Vilanova. That is very much the Barca identity. It's very much part of Xavi's training style as well. Lots of possession of football as a focus for the Blaugrana.
Speaking of training, a lot of the team have returned to training. The internationals have a slightly extended break, so they can rest up ready for next week. But a lot of the team did pass their medical checks on Monday morning, got back to training 7 p.m. on Monday to avoid that Barcelona heat, summer heat, although we've not got that today. Yesterday was a double session. First thing in the morning, there were rondos and a sort of a bit of a training match before they returned at 7 p.m. for a further workout. Today, the team will train at 7 p.m. once again before another double session tomorrow.
It is a question of getting back into the groove just ahead of that US tour. As you say, some of the internationals given a special dispensation, but it has been a welcome summer break for some of these players who've been playing game after game after game. Think of the likes of Pedri, who had to take a little forced break mid-season. If it was up to him, he'd probably be playing every day. I can't imagine he would have stayed away from playing football on the beach in Tenerife either. He's a man who loves his football, but has been through Olympic Games, the European Championships, under 19s, all sorts in the last couple of years. And certainly it's been a demanding season in terms of games played for this side. Of course, Barca out of the Champions League, but playing in the Europa League, which extended their European campaign as well. They've been game after game after game, keeping the players busy. This summer break is just an opportunity to recharge mentally as well as physically, because the focus for the last year or so has been football, football, football.
Very intense indeed. That said, obviously we're here in Barca watching all the footage as it comes in from the medical checkups, from the training, and they look in fantastic shape. The likes of Pedri, he's put on some muscle this past season. The players look really, really fired up, ready to go, and in really good form. But like you say, I'm sure they'll be keeping a close eye on that to make sure that continues into this pre-season. And yeah, a demanding pre-season as well, actually. We ran through it just previously, but 4 dates in the United States with some very big sides. You know, Real Madrid, Juventus not to be sniffed at, even if they are friendlies. Well, all very competitive teams. New York Red Bulls as well, of course.
Luckily, so yeah, we have all come back from the summer holidays in perfect peak fitness, prepared for what is going to be an exciting season ahead as well on Barca TV+. We're about to see Kessie doing his keep-ups, doing the rondos. He's about to emerge from the dressing room. It's going to be our first time seeing him in the Barca kit. We do have, of course, the mock-up for the signing, but this is the real deal. You'll be able to follow all of the behind-the-scenes footage from this presentation, from the press conference, from his arrival on the Barca website, on Barca TV+, as well, on social media. And there he is, Franck Kessie. Again, no number, but he's wearing that beautiful Barcelona home kit. A few keep-ups for the camera, and the rain has just allayed slightly as well. Well, place your bets at home as to how many keep-ups are going to be done here. It's always a nice pre-season competition.
This is always one of those sort of moments of how ambitious do you want to be and how cool do you want to look without making the risk of mucking it up. Quick photo, though. Naturally very cool is Franck Kessie.
He is indeed. If you don't know his playing style, tough tackling midfielder, but he's also got that intelligence and ball control. He's opted for the seal dribble here. And as we can see, plenty of skill on the ball for a player who has experience in European football. An exciting signing for Barca. As part of this, not exactly a summer spending spree, but we are getting gradually these incorporations. We'll have Christensen tomorrow. We're not keeping count of the keep-ups, but maybe we shall see if Christensen is able to match him tomorrow.
Someone on social media will have it under control. Don't you worry. We'll take to Twitter afterwards, and someone will give us the full count.
Well, after this, he'll be off to the press conference room, where he will be undertaking the perhaps more difficult task of fielding questions from the media. There will be plenty to be asked, maybe not of Kessie, but also of Joan Laporta about the movements this summer. And this very much is Kessie's day, his arrival at the club, who he was so keen on joining.
We welcome some of the Barca Academy players. We're going to have a bit of a kick round with the new signing. It's a very nice touch.
Well, we will be seeing perhaps coming through in the future players who've participated in these rondos, maybe coming up to the first team. As it's a relatively new initiative, but we all love to see that when there's some photos of Pep Guardiola as a ball boy or that kind of thing.
Absolutely. It's nice to see these youngsters getting an opportunity to have a kickabout with their heroes. There you go. Kessie finds himself in the middle of the rondo.
Well, he can get used to that, because that is a massive part of Barcelona's training sessions. They always seem to start with a brief jog, and then it's into the rondos.
Invented, of course, by the mythical Johan Cruyff, his time as a Barca coach.
Whose son, Jordi, now part of the sports management at Barca. He's been casting an eye over players that he wants to bring in. He's got such tight connection with Xavi as well.
There we go, quick photo of Barca's latest signing, Franck Kessie, with these youngsters from the Barca Academy. What a great opportunity for them to be part of the club, and that's one of the things that really does form part of the Barca identity, is that unity throughout the club from every level. He's done, of course, sign the shirts as well. Keep hold of them.
Well, it is part of being at the club, is forming part of the Barca family, as it were. It might seem almost a cliche, but you come to the club and there's so many things off the pitch that are almost equally as important for adapting to the club, which, as we always say, it's always a little bit different to arriving at other clubs. Players themselves, when they come here, acknowledge that it is a little bit special compared even to some of the other giant clubs where players have been at.
Well, we see that as well from what President Laporta had to say. He welcomed Franck Kessie's family to Barcelona, to FC Barcelona. And it's something we always see. He makes a real, not an effort because it comes naturally, but it's something that he ensures is done every time a new signing does come to the club.
Well, speaking of the family, it looks as if they might be coming down to pose for a photo with him as the sun conveniently emerges from beneath the clouds.
There we have it, Franck Kessie, Koulé in the new Barca kit. New player, new kit, everything very exciting for this upcoming season.
Player who can feature in several roles, maybe in a double pivot, maybe just in front of the defence. Certainly great aerial play, great running with the ball as well, and can cover plenty of ground tracking back. He's the kind of player that's always useful at Barca. And yes, we have some of his friends and family who've come along with him. It's always a lovely moment for them as well. It's a culmination of a dream. Sometimes the parents are maybe more emotional about it all than the player themselves, who are really focused on the task at hand. But it's a special moment to see a family member joining Barca as well.
Well, I always think about the parents quite a lot during these moments, because it's the parents that drive them to and from training. It's the parents that stand in the cold and the wet watching them playing on a Sunday morning. Or, you know, there's massive sacrifice by the parents to get these players to where they are. And so to see them signing for the biggest club in the world, or one of the biggest clubs in the world, must be ever such a proud moment. And it's great that they're able to form a part of this occasion as well.
Well, with a shirt included, in just a few minutes' time, we'll head down to the press room to hear from Franck Kessie. We've already heard a few words from him, but he will be fielding some players from some questions from the media. Joan Laporta as well will be in attendance. And he joins in with the photo call. With perhaps the most difficult task, or a real organisational issue on the pitch. Perhaps not organising the Barca midfield, but also organising the kids to try and get them to face the camera at the same time is always a difficult one.
Yeah, no easy task, that one. All happy and smiling until you point a camera at them.
Well, one-on-one, it's very much man marking. Now this is very much zonal. Well, a couple of tears, but it has nothing to do with the presentation itself. Maybe a little bit of nerves as well, but it's an exciting moment for the Kessie family. It's been relatively quick turnaround as well. He did have in mind that he wanted to come to Barca. He said to his agent he only wants to listen to the offer from Barca. They will have been uprooted. They'll probably, you would imagine, head back to Italy at some point just to complete the fine details of the move. We often see that happen, but firmly installed in Barca by the end of the week, you would imagine.
Yeah, Milan not too far away on a plane.
And he will come in training for Barca with his new teammates imminently. Everyone wants to get involved in the photos.
Of course.
Most important though, Kessie, who has arrived. We will have Andres Christensen arriving tomorrow. His presentation will be slightly later, around about 12:30 local time. Check the Barca website for the time where you are for the time difference. But things beginning to take shape with the Barca squad. Christensen will be a great addition to the Barca defence.
Yeah, another top flight player that knows what it's like to play on a European and an international stage.
Player has featured the likes of Borussia Mönchengladbach and Chelsea, of course, where he is a Champions League winner. He comes to Camp Barca with the aim of establishing a spot for himself in that highly competitive defence with the likes of Gerard Piqué, Eric Garcia and more.
Every combination of people and shirts in these photos.
Well, we are interested to hear if Kessie will reveal what number will be on that shirt when the season gets underway. It's a 4-year deal for the man from the Ivory Coast. Only the second player from the African country, the Côte d'Ivoire, to come to Barca. But what famous footsteps he follows. Yaya Touré, a real Barca legend. At one time, one of the best players in the world at Barca and at Manchester City. A versatile player as well, who featured in the defence and then in the midfield. Became a more attacking player when he left Barca, but he very much occupied that more defensive role that we'll see from Franck Kessie.
Well, he did say very clearly that one of his idols is Yaya Touré, and he wants to sort of follow in those footsteps. So we'll see how he occupies that midfield role here at FC Barcelona. Speaking of following in footsteps, by my count, Franck Kessie is the 19th player to have played for both AC Milan and FC Barcelona. I'm not going to put you on the spot, Duncan, but there are some big names there that he is following the footsteps of.
Ronaldinho, Van Bommel.
Ronaldinho, Ronaldo Nazario, Bojan Krukic, Pierre-Emerick, David. Yeah, so big names that have represented both the Italian and the Catalan side. And I have no doubt that he's probably in touch with maybe a couple of those and will have had a bit of, maybe have influenced him a little bit in this move. And if he's not in touch with them, he'll have seen them play, he'll have grown up watching them play, and yeah, that'll have definitely had some influence on that move as well.
And certainly, if he's ever in contact with Yaya Touré, the recommendation would be emphatic from the one-time Barca player. And we see again some of the footage from earlier on today, the arrival of Franck Kessie, who underwent his medical, presented as a Barca player. He's heading off now to the press room. We're going to hear some questions from some of the media who haven't gone on holiday. It's a tireless job at times with the transfer market, which is almost more difficult than the season itself. It's unpredictable. You never know when there's going to be a signing, and then it's off to send some questions the players' way. It'll be a very busy few weeks before the season starts. Well, you'd imagine Joan Laporta will be on double duty as well. He'll be presenting Andres Christensen tomorrow.
Very busy man, that one.
Well, we are going to be hearing probably from him as well, and there will be some questions for Joan Laporta from the media. A lot to be asked, but Franck Kessie, nothing can overshadow his day. This is a day in which he's the big focus. He'll be doing some interviews. He'll be doing various promotional work as well. We'll see the same with Andres Christensen, who will be having a sit-down interview tomorrow with Barca TV+. We'll get some more in-depth thoughts and maybe a more relaxed setting than being put on the spot by the journalists. As ever, we'll get some behind-the-scenes footage, some instant reactions, and also we'll see what's been going on behind the scenes for the other players with their medicals and the like. All of that available on Barca TV+ and on the club website.
Aquesta lona, com sabeu, serà subestada I la seva recaptació juntament amb la d'altres objectes anirà destinada
on Barca TV+, the friendlies, the American tour, behind the scenes of the American tour as well, of course. Be plenty going on, I have no doubt. And all of that will be available right through to the Man City charity match, the ALS Foundation, and the Gamper Trophy, all available on Barca TV+. So stick with us because we've got some very exciting weeks coming up ahead of the season kickoff. in August.
It is a very different season as well, what with the World Cup being played in November and December. That means a brief break of sorts, although of course Barca, with the amount of internationals they have, they'll be kept plenty busy. It does mean we might have a bit of a backlog of games coming up. It's going to be a very busy turn of the new year. End of December, January is going to be game after game after game. And, well, that just maybe extends the need for the club to have some good reinforcements as well. It tends to be the time where we see some injuries. And having a deep squad could be a decisive factor in the race for the La Liga title.
Xavi will no doubt be wanting to rotate the players well and make sure everyone is as rested as can be.
Well, the season will come to a close in around about 11 months' time. It's going to run on.
Thinking about the end of the season, Doug. We're not even into pre-season yet.
Well, it's going to run on until June, and there will be that split in the season around about November. It's also going to be interesting to see what happens in the winter transfer market, but that's very much getting ahead of ourselves. There's still plenty to go in the summer. Here we see the latest Barca signing, Franck Kessie. Keep-ups on the pitch. Another change of attire for him as we head back down to the Camp Tito Villanova. He will be talking to the media in just a few minutes' time.
There he goes, those touches from just a few moments ago.
We still didn't get a chance to count them, but...
always something that's highly anticipated by the fans. Will they do some tricks? Will they? Won't they? It's good to see Franck Kessie keeping up tradition as well as keeping up the ball. Here we are then in the press conference room where Franck Kessie, along with Joan Laporta, will address the world media.
It seems likely that Kessie would be talking to the media in French, but we will have the translation for you to hear the thoughts of the new Barca signing. We shall see as well who the representatives of Barca are who take part in the press conference. You'd imagine Joan Laporta would be alongside Kessie. We also tend to have sporting directors and the like to explain some of the signing policy.
It's always good as well to hear a bit about the process of the story behind the signing. You know, how did they get to this moment?
Joan Laporta gave a hint that Kessie had been very keen to make himself available for this move. Hadn't signed a renewal at AC Milan, was talking with Barca, and made very clear what his intentions were. It's always a relief when the contract talks go smoothly and are relatively straightforward, painless and quick.
Well, that's something that President Joan Laporta said since his arrival, is that we want players that want to play for Barca. We don't have to be going after players that don't want to be here. It's always nice, and we're grateful for their willingness and their enthusiasm to be here and play for this club. Here are those footage from those medical checks. Passed with flying colours.
He has come in great shape, prepared for the task at hand. We haven't really seen any of the Barca players let themselves go. They've, if anything, probably be maybe a kilo or so above their ideal target weight, but there is a lot of discipline amongst these players, even on their holidays.
Well, it's what they're here to do. It's what they live and breathe, is playing football. And they want to make sure, well, we've spoken about it already, there's so much competition in terms of positions, so much depth in these positions now that they want to be there working hard, ensuring that they get the minutes that they want and bring success to their team.
And Franck Kessie, we've seen him in a variety of clothing so far. This is the Barca training gear, which is also available for purchase. We've seen that rather fetching blue suit that he'll be changing back into, and we've also seen the Barca home kit also available, the away kit and the third kit.
After a couple of still to be unveiled.
The contract.
I'm very excited about that one.
Addressing perhaps
the see the first and second kit there. Display. Representing that 1992 Summer Olympic Games held here in Barcelona. Flame Burns On is the campaign that accompanies these seasons' kit.
Olympic Games renowned as one of the best of all time, one of the most memorable. It really gave a boost to the city, but it came at the same time as Barca were finally lifting their first European Cup. They did so at Wembley, the famous Dream Team. What a summer it was in Barcelona, really rejuvenated the city. Some of that building project for the Olympic Games has really changed the entire face of Barcelona. It was remember, Barcelona was a very inward-looking city, but with the construction of the Olympic Village, it was it became a city facing out to the sea and really embracing its location. And well, Barcelona was already on the map then, but what a summer it was! European Cup win and the Olympic Games.
A legacy which will continue, of course, next year with FC Barcelona as they play from the Olympic Stadium up on Montjuic, whilst the Camp Nou undergoes reconstruction and development work. So FC Barcelona very much happy to play a part in that history and to keep the legacy of 92 alive.
Hard to believe it was some 30 years ago. Barcelona have gone from strength to strength since then. So many trophies since 1992, and this man will be hoping to pick up a few this season. Barcelona coming into this campaign off the back of a trophyless year. Very rare have been those years in which they haven't picked up a trophy. And this time around they will be looking to challenge on all fronts. They did make it into the Champions League. There's the Copa del Rey as well, and La Liga.
Well, this was just some moments ago. Franck Kessie having his new shirt with his name on the back. Number still to be determined. He signed his contract out on the pitch, Camp Tito Villanova. The turf at the Camp Nou, of course, being relayed as it is every summer. And, took the opportunity of being here at the iconic Barca training ground in the Ciutat Esportiva. Frank had a kick around with some of the Barca Academy kids, which is a really nice moment to unite FC Barcelona from the grassroots upward. Of course, waiting for the man of the hour to arrive in the press room where he will be addressing the world press. We'll be hearing from him. French and Italian he speaks for now. I'm sure he'll be adding to that repertoire, but we will bring you all the translations from this press conference.
Well, the first couple of quotes we've had from him have been words of thanks for Xavi as well. He says when Xavi calls you, you can see that it's all worthwhile. He will be getting some one-on-one time with the coach as well, and as the players begin to come back, Xavi will take him to one side and, as he does with all of the signings, explain what he wants from the new player. Xavi, he's got such respect amongst the dressing room. A lot of these players grew up watching Xavi as a player. For some, he was a peer of theirs. For others, some of the younger players, they maybe saw him on the training ground here as a player. There's undoubtedly respect, despite maybe Xavi not having as much experience in coaching as some of the other coaches who've been here at Camp Barca in recent years. Had the experience in Al Sadd in Qatar, but he has very much adapted to, or readapted to Barcelona. This is a man who's Barca through and through. His entire footballing identity is Blaugrana.
Absolutely. Franck Kessie was asked yesterday, so what's your position? Where do you play? And he was very clear right away. He says, my decision will be determined by the coach. You see, he's a versatile player, but he's very willing to hear from Xavi and follow the instructions of the FC Barcelona coach.
Well, Xavi did make a few adjustments to Barca's tactics when he came in. Even some adjustments to the tactics he would have used as a player. He's proven to be maybe more versatile than some people had expected. He's not just been Barcelona the way it was in my day. He's been very much adapting to the qualities of the squad and the needs of football. Just a few years on from his retirement, he will have also, for this summer transfer window, he will have been in close contact with the sports management to express the needs that he has for the squad, the kind of profile of player that he wants to bring in. It's going to be very much a seamless process. He's going to be in constant communication with the likes of Mateo Alemán.
Absolutely. And it would seem that Xavi's even involved in that process. From what Frank said yesterday, when someone like Xavi calls you, you know it's all been worth the effort. So obviously, you know, Frank perhaps grew up watching Xavi as well, and yeah, like you say, Xavi very much involved in the process, whether it's going to the technical directors or the sporting directors and saying, hey, I want this kind of profile, or even more involved to the point where he spoke to Franck Kessie on the phone. And I don't know, for you, would that seal the deal if Xavi called you up and said, hey, we want you?
Well, it would be very difficult to say no, especially if it's directly to you. That's part of the pull as well of Barcelona, the Barca name, the Barca history, the Barca heritage, and also taking into account Xavi's pedigree, the respect that is universal in world football for Xavi.
Absolutely. A name and identity that carries an awful lot of weight.
Also as well, the fact that Xavi seems to have a project in mind for beyond the immediate future. He wants to build something here.
Well, they spoke a lot about that Barca are in a reconstruction phase. We seem to have moved on from that narrative a little bit, and we're now talking about consolidating that, and it would seem that Franck Kessie is a key piece in Xavi's long-term project. 4 years deal, €500 million buyout clause. They don't want him to go anywhere. And yeah, Franck Kessie is forming an important part of whatever this following phase is from the reconstruction phase. The foundations are laid.
Well, we do insist it will.
Some walls, I guess.
It will be a little bit clearer in the next couple of weeks when we see who comes in, who goes out. Also, we've had players returning from loan spells at other teams. Think of the likes of Trincao, for example, who's come back. Where does he fit into things? Is he going to be loaned out again? Is he going to be sold on? Is Xavi going to keep him in the fold and introduce him into the Barca squad again? Things will become clear in the next couple of weeks as other teams as well look to seal their project for 2022-2023. But you can imagine that Xavi would be giving everybody a fair shot who's on the books until he learns otherwise.
Absolutely. We've seen them at training, various players that have returned from loan and or are linked elsewhere. They're already back at work. And that's something that Xavi holds quite in high regard, is the work ethic and the work rate of his players. And, he frequently talks about one of the virtues of a lot of these players is their professionalism and how they hold themselves within the team and how they work. And everyone that gets minutes under Xavi deserves them, and they're merited. And Xavi, I think, I'd imagine is very fair with the minutes that he distributes as well.
Well, a player with great ability, Franck Kessie. We've mentioned his aerial play, his tough tackling, his ability to cover ground as well. He's also quite good from the penalty spot. 23 converted at times. That's been a problem for Barca, penalty conversion. Of the 40 goals he scored in Serie A, 23 of those have come from 11 metres. Well, different things could have been for Kessie last year. There was interest for him to join Wolverhampton Wanderers. He held out. He wanted to prove his worth at AC Milan. He's taken under the wing of one-time Barcelona players, Zlatan Ibrahimovic, who really helped his development in the last campaign. He became a regular fixture more or less from December on as part of that Scudetto winning side. And well, we shall see if he features from the outset at Barcelona. Plenty of competition for those midfield places. And Xavi approving personally the signing of Franck Kessie.
Probably worth not overlooking his international experience either. He did. We talked about it earlier, actually. The intense season that we're coming off the back of, or intense two seasons that we're coming off the back of. He also played for the Ivory Coast Olympic team last summer in Tokyo. 4 appearances and a goal in the Tokyo Summer Olympic Games. 58 caps with the Ivory Coast for Franck Kessie, as he follows in the footsteps of another Ivory Coast legend and one of Franck Kessie's idols, Yaya Touré.
A player who did call him up. Yaya Touré said he called Kessie during the negotiations with Barcelona and told him not to have any doubts about the move. Well, we make a move of our own. We go down to the press conference room where the man of the hour is about to arrive to give his thoughts on this exciting new stage in his career.
Everyone wants a picture of this moment.
There's one for the photographers to get sharpening their elbows. There's going to be a little bit of jostling to get the best photo. You can see all of the best photos on the Barca website. There we see Joan Laporta, Franck Kessie, and also Matteo Alemany, the man in charge of the signings, the mastermind of transfer business.
I tot seguit,
President Laporta
amb la
did congratulate him just earlier on the work done to bring Franck Kessie to the club. Make the most of this photo opportunity with the man of the hour and the two that made it happen.
I ara amb la samarreta del Barça.
As he once again holds up that 2022-23 Barca shirt.
Well, we can't quite get a shot of it, but you have all seen it out on the pitch at the Camp Tito Villanova.
I'm sure our official Barca camera man is down there on the front row, getting us the best picture. Jordi Cruyff joining the fray as well as Rafa Juste.
Well, Jordi Cruyff, a close confidant of Xavi. There's a very close connection between him and Joan Laporta. It's so important, that institutional unity, as well as the connection with the coach. Xavi will have very clear ideas of what he wants, and then it's a question of expressing that to Matteo Alemany, who will do his magic over the summer.
Deixarem que també agafin imatges
one of the
les
busiest men
televisions i de seguida
on the planet right now.
aquesta roda de
All
premsa
the
de
rumours that are
presentació.
flying around. For now, though, we're here to celebrate the signing of Franck Kessie. So we get a good shot of him now with that new Barca shirt, as well as the men that made it happen. Rafa Juste, President Joan Laporta, Matteo Alemany, and Jordi Cruyff. Press conference, of course, will be held in the languages of Franck Kessie in Italian and French. We'll be bringing you all the translations, so we can hear the first thoughts of Franck Kessie as a Blaugrana.
Doncs, com us deia, comencem aquesta roda de premsa de presentació de Franck Kessie com a nou jugador del Futbol Club Barcelona.
So we begin the press conference then of the latest signing to FC Barcelona, Franck Kessie.
Del Futbol Club Barcelona, no sé si li funciona. Funciona? Sí? Hola, em sents? Se sent la traducció? Sí? Ara sí.
Okay, all set and ready to go then.
Doncs començarem aquesta presentació. M'acompanya el jugador, òbviament, el director de futbol del Barça, el senyor Mateu Alemany, i el president del Futbol Club Barcelona, el senyor Joan Laporta.
Franck Kessie, the director of football, Mateu Alemany, and President Joan Laporta.
Que comença amb aquesta incorporació un estiu força actiu, podríem dir, president.
Sí, ja ho he dit abans, o sigui,
benvinguda
a Franck Kessie, a tota la seva família, a la seva dona, a la seva mare, als seus fills, també al seu representant i a tot el seu equip. Han treballat molt bé, juntament amb el nostre director de futbol i el seu equip, amb el Jordi Cruyff també, aquí tots, doncs s'ha fet possible aquest fitxatge. Mateu, enhorabona, perquè el jugador ha mostrat la seva voluntat de venir al Barça, però s'ha treballat molt bé per arribar a un acord. Per tant, estem molt satisfets perquè donem també satisfacció al nostre entrenador, que volia un jugador d'aquestes característiques, un jugador com ell, i sé que en aquest sentit anem complint les expectatives de l'entrenador, que és el que volem fer durant tota aquesta finestra d'estiu. És la primera incorporació al Franck Kessie des de Costa d'Ivori. Permetem que fer un record al de Costa d'Ivori. Va ser un jugador excel·lent, que va
just like Yaya Touré, an excellent Ivory Coast player as well.
I bé, abans de deixar aquesta primera intervenció, dir que és un migcampista d'aquests que nosaltres també trobàvem a faltar, migcampistes que també tenen arribada. I a més, també és un migcampista que sap protegir a la defensa.
He's a midfielder that can also play and protect the defence.
I jo aprofito per dir-ho. Abans d'acabar la meva intervenció, vull fer una referència, i permetem, Franck, que faci una referència a Alexia Putellas. S'ha lesionat i des d'aquí tot el suport del club i de totes les persones que l'estimem perquè es recuperi el més aviat possible. Ja sap que tots estem amb ella per ajudar-la.
Gràcies, president. Podeu aplaudir. I abans de començar la roda de premsa també li voldria fer una pregunta a Franck Kessie, que ja ha trepitjat la gespa del Camp Tito Vilanova, que serà el terreny de joc on habitualment treballarà. Franck, déjà sur la pelouse du terrain où d'habitude travaille la première équipe, tu as envie de connaître tes nouveaux coéquipiers?
Have you had an opportunity to meet your new team that you'll be working alongside?
Merci. Ouais, quand j'étais sur le terrain, j'étais très content. Je suis pressé de commencer les entraînements et connaître mes coéquipiers. Et aussi le staff technique, parce que c'est beaucoup important.
I'm looking forward to getting to know the coaching staff and also to the pitch where I'm going to be training on, and also to my fellow teammates. I'm really looking forward to that.
Els seus nous companys, també al cos tècnic, que li ha fet molta il·lusió trepitjar aquest terreny de joc i ja té ganes.
I'm very excited about working at the training ground as well and to meet my teammates soon.
Quan arriba un nou jugador del Barça, el presentem i li donem la benvinguda amb unes imatges. I aquí l'estem.
We're going to welcome Franck Kessie with a highlight video of some of his best moments.
Doncs ara sí, companys, li passo la paraula a l'Àlex per començar aquesta roda de premsa.
Què tal, com esteu? Intentarem fer una roda de premsa de mitja horeta llarga. Crec que aquí podran encabir-nos totes les preguntes que fareu, d'acord? I comencem pel Pol. Barça TV, aixeca la mà, sisplau.
Paul from Barça TV, then.
Hola, bon dia. La meva pregunta és pel jugador Franck Kessie. Benvingut.
Welcome, Frank.
Tenint en compte una mica l'estil de joc del Barça i les teves condicions.
I want to ask you about
quin futbolista veurem aquí al Barça?
which Barca player do you
Creus que encara està per arribar la millor versió de Kessie? Moltes gràcies.
identify with? Which player is an influence on you?
Et torno a preguntar. Tenint en compte les característiques de l'estil del Barça i les teves condicions com a futbolista, quin Kessie veurem aquí al Futbol Club Barcelona? I en aquest sentit, si creus que la teva millor versió la podrem veure aquí a Can Barça. Gràcies.
Sicuramente sì, sì. Italiano sì. Voglio dire sì. Quando un giocatore inizia a giocare per andare in avanti, non per andare indietro. Allora sono arrivato in un posto importante e c'è ancora la voglia di dimostrare.
I come to a big club and I want to show what I can do.
E devo conoscere prima il staff tecnico. I
want to get to know my the coaching staff and also my teammates.
Les traduccions que es facin es faran en català i en italià, d'acord? Xavi.
Sí, hola, Frank. Benvingut, Xavi Lemus de TV3. Abans ha comentat el president, ha parlat de Torella ja, que va ser un jugador que va deixar un gran record i que és compatriota teu. Volia saber...
You've spoken about Yaya Toure as a player who you remember and he's your fellow countryman, of course.
A nivell de joc, tractant-se de dos migcampistes que hi ha entre, en el seu moment...
What differences do you think there are in terms of play between you and Yaya Toure?
Yaya Toure è un grande campione. Ho avuto una
Toure was a great champion.
È un calciatore completo e
I had the opportunity to play with him.
Di lavorare tanto per arrivare per fare
At the Ivory Coast, he was a really complete player. I want to work really hard to try and imitate his career.
Hola, Ruth Vilà, Catalunya Ràdio. Volia preguntar-li al senyor Mateu Alemany. Insistia el president en que és una demanda de Xavi, un migcampista d'aquest tipus, que és...
I want to ask the president, is this a request for Franck Kessie from Xavi, or is it from the club?
Sí, bon dia. Bueno, jo diria que no és un tema merament de migcampistes, és una qüestió de concepte, no? I sempre hem dit que...
I don't think it's a question of midfielders.
Que en quant a un fitxatge que vengui al club sempre ha d'anar...
It's a strategic decision.
Acaba clarament amb el vistiplau de l'entrenador, que és que marca primer el perfil de lo que necessita...
We always have the coach's approval for each signing.
El jugador concret que arribam a tenir en disposició és l'indicat i el Xavi clarament.
We then see if the player who we're looking at is the right one. Xavi has given his okay. We did things through this process. It couldn't be any other way.
Bon dia, Laia Coll de RAC1. La meva pregunta és pel president. President, avui es presenta el primer fitxatge del
demà
Christensen. Un cop s'hagin activat les palanques econòmiques que preveuen en aquest estiu, quants fitxatges creu que es podran fer? Gràcies.
How many signings do you think we'll get this summer?
Primer, el que hem d'activar és la segona palanca, que no serà fàcil.
What we need to activate is the second lever, which won't be easy.
I bé, aconseguit això, aleshores ja estaríem amb aquella relació que ens permet el fair play de 1-1 i faríem les incorporacions que l'entrenador ens ha anat
fair play regulations and work on new signings, which the coach has told us he needs, working with the technical secretary of football, who's working with the coach in a very satisfactory manner.
Nosaltres ja hem dit que el que sí que farem serà reforçar el
We want to send a message to the market that fits us, which is that we want to reinforce our team.
De gestions fetes per poder, quan sigui el moment, esperem
to do that, there
podem arribar a aquest moment.
A series of movements to manage this that we need to do, and so
Hola, què
when
tal?
the
Aquí
moment arrives, we're able
soc el
to do
Santi
this.
Valle en directe al Que t'hi jugues de Ser Catalunya. Benvingut, Franck Kessie. La meva pregunta és pel president. L'altre dia va parlar del futur de Frenkie de Jong i va dir que vostè faria tot el que està a la seva mà perquè el jugador continuï per qui es vol quedar. Això contrasta amb les informacions que han anat apareguent els últims mesos, les últimes setmanes sobre una negociació amb el Manchester United. M'agradaria saber si ha canviat alguna cosa amb Frenkie de Jong a les últimes setmanes i en quina situació està el seu futur.
Can you explain what the situation has been with Frankie de Jong in the last few weeks?
És jugador del Barça i nosaltres, doncs,
Frankie de Jong is a Barca player.
L'interès de vendre'l no el volem vendre. Frankie de Jong no el tenim a la venda.
Aside from having the interest and the opportunity to sell him, we're not interested in selling Frankie de Jong. We know we've got offers.
Però en aquests moments nosaltres no venem el jugador.
If it didn't interest us, we wouldn't do it, and we're not going to sell the player.
Franck Kessie.
What's more, we're here today for a player that we have signed, who's Franck Kessie.
Sí, hola, Gabriel Sanz, del Mundo Deportivo. Li volia preguntar per Dembélé. Ja sé que no es vol el president, sisplau. Ja sé que no es volen marcar unes dates, però el temps va passant, ja es renova al voltant d'aquest jugador. S'han marcat alguna data precisa perquè respongui Dembélé?
No, no hi ha cap data precisa.
Is there a set date to make a decision for Dembélé?
We're in a situation currently which is very uncertain. We're working to be able to reinforce and grow our team and to be able to sign players. So in these moments, we're not able to sign, and so what we're doing is working very hard right now, talking with players that are interested, that we're interested in signing, and asking them to wait until we're able to sign them. In this case that you're referring to, he's no longer a Barca player, but it's true that we've made an offer in terms of the sporting interest of the club, and it's an offer that we've made to the offer or the representatives of the player. Not replied in the way that we wanted to our offer, but they've also not refused the offer. So that means that we'll keep speaking whilst both parties are still interested. It's different to a player like Frankie de Jong, who's got a contract in place. So the interests are different, but in the case of Dembélé, it's the same. If he wants to accept our offer,
aleshores sí que ens el quedaríem, però ha d'acceptar la nostra proposta. Si no l'accepta, no...
We want him to accept our offer, but if he doesn't accept our offer, then there's no interest from our side.
S'ha de dimensionar el salari dels nostres
Why is this the case? Because we need to add a scale to the salary of our players to put a structure in place, and that's the case for all of them, not just Usman, for all of them. And we think this balance is needed in order to be competitive, so that we're not an unbalanced side, which could distort the team.
Crec que ho enteneu prou bé, està emmarcat en aquest context.
In that sense, I think you understand well enough
per les noves incorporacions i pels que ja tenim,
all the work that's being done,
que es dimensioni el seu salari a l'estructura salarial.
Conversations is that we need to divide everyone's salary into the structure that we've got.
Més enllà de que som
We're not in a hurry.
que no ens podem enredarir molt, perquè si no els jugadors que tenim
d'alguna
manera
also can't delay this too much longer
no arribem a temps.
Because the players that we've got on standby,
la reacció és bona, entenen la nostra situació,
get an agreement with them in time.
Els fa aguantar una determinada posició.
Our situation is that we want these players that are excited and enthusiastic to come to Barca, and we need time to make sure we have an agreement with them. We can't wait to then have to do everything in a hurry.
No, actuarem amb màxima prudència i amb criteris de sostenibilitat econòmica.
Act with the greatest amount of prudence and with the criteria.
De fet, ho estem fent.
And we're going to act within this market with this principle, and that's what we're doing in that sense.
Buenos días, Frank. Tony Juan Martí de Relevo. Primero, enhorabuena por tu fichaje.
Congratulations on your signing, Frank.
Zlatan Ibrahimovic, que también estuvo en Barcelona.
Zlatan Ibrahimovic,
un consejo sobre cómo afrontar tu...
shared a dressing room with him. He's been a Barca player as well. Has he shared any advice with you about the club and about the city? Yes, he has. I've spoken with Ibrahimovic. He's given me some advice. He said that this is a really nice, beautiful city, a great team. He said, look, work hard and do exactly what you're doing here at AC Milan. Give everything and try and go as far as possible at the club.
Mi pregunta es para Kessie. Quería preguntarte cuál es tu primer recuerdo vinculado al Barça.
Kessie, what's your first memory about Barcelona?
Jugar y compartir vestuario a partir de ahora. Gracias.
Ho avuto un ricordo, ho giocato una volta in America contro Barcelona.
I played once
Abbiamo vinto noi 1-0.
against Barcelona.
Ho parlato con alcuni giocatori e la seconda volta
it was a very nice game. And the second game I played was in the Olympics against Spain, which I played against some of the Barca teammates who I'll have now, the likes of Pedri. We've spoken a bit before and after the game.
Capel de Radio Nacional, aquí Frank. Una pregunta para Franck Kessie.
A question for Frank.
Te hemos visto jugar en el Milan en diferentes
posiciones. Play in different positions at AC Milan in the midfield.
Aquí en el Barça.
What's your idea at Barca for your position?
De Xavi Hernández, y más en la posición del mediocentro de Sergio Busquets o un poquito más.
Possibility of you playing in the Busquets role or maybe in a different role. What's the role that you like the most and where do you feel the most comfortable?
Io mi metti a disposizione dell'allenatore, cerca di lavorare.
I'm at the coach's disposal.
La posizione in campo lo decide l'allenatore.
I will try and work on
davanti la difesa.
Possession and in the position that the coach sees fit. I can play maybe a little bit more on the left, maybe a little bit more on the right, but it's all down to the coach. I'll collaborate with the coach on his idea for our style.
Buena tarde a todos tres. Víctor Navarro de la cadena COPE. Bienvenido. Kessie, quería hacerle mi pregunta al presidente del Barça, al señor Joan Laporta. El lunes por la noche tuvo una cumbre con el agente Jorge Méndez. Quería preguntarle si fue bien y si además el representante le ofreció y le puso sobre la mesa el nombre de Cristiano Ronaldo. Gracias.
And there was a talk about an offer for Cristiano Ronaldo. Would that suit Barca?
Una cena, es verdad.
Yes, it's true. There was a dinner.
Por un tema del mercado. Estaba previsto que
about the market.
Mateo, pero estaba en otro
plan that Mateo was going to come as well, but he was otherwise
y estuvimos hablando en general del mercado, pero no te voy a, si me lo permites,
yes, we did talk about the market, but I'm not going to tell you whether he offered me any player or not.
Tiene a grandes jugadores.
Specifically, he's a great agent, managing great players,
con él,
and it's always interesting to speak with him because
a conocer cómo está el mercado.
He helps you to know how the market is.
Sí que es cierto que tuve una cena con él.
I had a dinner with him.
El vicepresidente Juste.
Also, Vice President Juste was there.
Hola, ¿qué tal? Alejandro Segura en directo para Radio Marca. Bienvenido, Franck, a Barcelona. Mi pregunta es para Mateu Alemany. Se habla mucho de la masa salarial que sigue excedido ese límite salarial. Yo no sé si se puede inscribir el fichaje de Kessie y Christensen ahora mismo.
Register Kessie and Christensen right now, or do you have to wait
ese fair play financiero de la liga? Y en este sentido, si la renovación de Gavi se está retrasando también porque no se puede inscribir. Gracias.
Renewal of Gavi's contract being delayed because of this wage structure and financial fair play.
Las dos preguntas. Bueno, en cuanto al fair play.
In terms of the two questions, the first one, financial fair play.
En tanto en cuanto el Barça está excedido del límite de coste plantilla, tenemos que actuar con la regla 1415.
We need to act with rules 1, rules 5.
Como Andreas, vamos a tener que
We're going to have to
bajar coste salarial,
drop wage costs, lower wage costs, and
en cuanto se active la
play with the numbers a little bit. And once the second lever has been activated,
pues si ahorras 30, pues metes 30, ¿no? Sería todo mucho más rápido.
Then things would work a lot more quickly. We had to wait a little bit to register players last time out. We hope that the 1.1 rule can be adapted to, and we'll be adapting to the situation in the market that we have. We're obviously looking to lower the wage structure, but that's not with one structure or another in mind. It's something general. In terms of Gavi, what I want to say is there's no novelty in the situation. There's a statement of intent with his agent. We're committed to sooner rather than later renewing his contract. You've got to bear in mind that he's only 17 years old. Until you're 18, you can't fully register a player. The fundamentals of a renewal are arranged. And in the time before he turns 18, we're going to resolve any small details. I would say that for everyone to be calm, the principle of an agreement, the commitment of intent is all in place for when he turns 18. We're committed to doing that, and we're committed to having with Gavi for the future.
Buenas tardes, Frankie, bienvenido a Barcelona. Mi pregunta es para el presidente. Estamos hablando de las entradas, pero este año parece que tiene un papel importante en las salidas. Usted ha incidido en que se podría poder, con los que pregunta el técnico, que liberen plaza. Entiende que este año es trascendental que los jugadores lo van a comprender y no descarta ningún tipo de medida para rescindir algunos de esos contratos, siempre respetándolos.
Can you say that you won't be looking at any way of even rescinding contracts to lower wage bill?
Son jugadores del Barça, los que tienen contrato en vigor.
To the Barca players that have got a contract in place.
Ahí tenemos un punto de conflicto que nos tiene que llevar a un acuerdo, digamos, consensuado por las dos partes. Sé que se está trabajando muy bien desde la dirección de fútbol. No es sencillo, porque son unos contratos que, bueno, como mínimo el jugador lo que pretende es tener también el mismo nivel de contrato en otro club. A pesar que le duela irse del Barça, esto lo entendemos, lo agradecemos, pero son profesionales, entienden también ellos la situación. Y se está trabajando, lo ha dicho muy bien Mateu, o sea, es una línea de trabajo que estamos desarrollando para que se pueda llegar al 1-1, completada o al revés. Esto completaría también la activación de la segunda palanca. Entonces podríamos ir al 1-1. Pero este trabajo ya se está haciendo desde hace tiempo, no es sencillo, porque ya te digo, el jugador siempre tiene la esperanza de poder continuar en el Barça y lo hemos visto. Estamos viendo en algunos jugadores que a pesar de que el entrenador diga que no cuenta con ellos, ellos siempre tienen la esperanza o la ilusión de poder convencer al entrenador.
Y ahí está not counting on them, they hope and aspire to convince the coach, and that's something that's difficult So we try and make things clear, we try and talk in a professional way, which is what we're doing. And we need to try and put some logic into place, and we're in the process of doing that.
Y si ya se ha venido trabajando durante la temporada, hombre, no, el momento clave es este ahora, de la ventana de
working throughout the season. They know that this window is coming where we try and have all these negotiations.
Se impondrá la lógica.
And that's what we're trying to do now, is put a bit
Hola,
of
buen día.
order.
Aquí, Frank, bienvenido. Mi pregunta és per a Mateu Alemany.
My question is for Mateu Alemany.
Volia demanar, han parlat de sous, de salaris de jugadors. Volia saber si ja han començat a parlar amb alguns d'ells, si la predisposició és bona i si tot això afecta sobretot als capitans i més jugadors que hauran de fer un esforç en aquest sentit. Gràcies.
Are willing to make a sacrifice in this way.
Sense parlar de coses concretes ni de...
Without talking about things in...
Jo te diria, ho ha dit molt bé el president,
concretely,
en general que vosaltres coneixeu. Aquí hi ha una herència de salaris fora de mercat.
Here we've inherited a wage structure that's very difficult. A year and 3 months ago we inherited this structure.
En el seu lloc natural, en el seu lloc de mercat. I això afectava molt de jugadors. Jo crec que de memòria te diria quasi 11 o 12.
We need to make some adjustments to the wage structure, and this affects the players a lot. This is a process. We've got the cases of Coutinho and Griezmann. There'll be some agreements, there'll be some departures. I think in the short and medium term, we need to balance the wage structures clearly.
I salaris proporcionals a la qualitat, rendiment i valor de retorn en el mercat. Això és el gran objectiu, crec, que té el Barça, perquè a partir d'aquí...
Our big objective is to do that, but remain competitive in the market.
De balanç suficient com per anar a accedir al mercat en condicions com altres equips, grans equips europeus que ho tenen.
We need to compete with other big teams in Europe who have the resources. We need to find this balance like they do.
En cadascun d'ells i en cadascun d'aquestes situacions.
It's down to each individual case and each individual situation.
Buen día, tres. David Bernabé, Deportes 4. Enhorabuena, Frank, por el fichaje por el Barça. Quería preguntarle al presidente Laporta. Alexia Putellas, nada más empezar esta rueda de prensa, ha sido la noticia lamentable de las últimas horas. Ayer, nada más conocerse esa noticia, se
After finding out the news about Alexia Putellas,
el Barça estaba algo molesto por lo que considera una suprautilización de la jugadora por parte de la selección española durante la temporada. Quisiera preguntarle si es cierta, presidente, y cómo ve todo lo que ha sucedido. Gracias.
Is that true? And can you explain more about the situation?
Tristes, estamos.
What we are here in Barca is sad.
Con una sensación de tristeza porque la mejor jugadora del mundo.
Sadness because the best player in the world is injured.
Esa es la primera reacción
That's the first reaction
y por lo
that we had in Barca.
Yo creo que lo importante es ahora que se centre en la recuperación.
The main thing now is that she's focused on her recovery. Everyone in the club helps her
en este proceso de recuperación.
Be as comfortable as she can throughout this process.
Qué alcance tiene.
Whatever duration it has. And that's it.
Son cosas que en el fútbol ocurren
things that happen in football.
Y ahora sí podemos buscar las razones, los motivos.
Yeah, we can try and find the reasons and the motives. It's something that's very unfortunate. It's an injury.
En el caso de, especialmente en el caso de Alexia, que es una profesional, y ha ocurrido. Lo lamentamos, la animamos, la ayudaremos en todo lo que necesite.
Offer her support and encouragement and everything we can do for her.
Es el ánimo del club.
And the support that I say is the support of the club. Today, we're hearing the presentation of Franck Kessie. What's the reference to Alexia about? Was yesterday she got injured. Nobody expected it. We weren't aware that she could have had this difficult injury. It's a delicate situation. We're here right now for the signing of Frank. And we're especially happy. What I would say at the start, and I forgot, is that I've got that feeling.
Reforzamos nuestro africanismo.
Barca is reinforcing our alignment with Africa.
Con Ova, contigo,
with Ova,
es importante.
with you. I think that's something important for us.
Somos un club global.
We're a global club.
Y siempre los jugadores africanos que hemos tenido han sido jugadores que han rendido.
African players that we've had have always been players that play really well.
De origen africano también está Usman, también está Ansu Fati.
African roots as well. We've also got Usman, Ansu Fati.
Con la nacionalidad africana, pues tenemos a vosotros.
Players from an African nation. You, also Abde, who's got Moroccan roots.
Muy contentos.
And we're very happy.
Siempre ha tenido alguna referencia.
Barca has always had an African reference as a player. We bring this player here to reinforce that position in the club. Remind us of the great Africans that we've had, players like Samuel Eto'o and Yaya Touré.
Muchos, Avidal, en fin, pero
Hola. Avidal, he was French.
Keita, hostia, Seydou Keita, Malien, sí, gran jugador.
Hola, bon dia a tothom. És una pregunta pel senyor Mateu Alemany. Aquí. Era per saber els jugadors que no poden ser inscrits o que de moment no poden ser inscrits, els afecta d'alguna manera a l'hora de poder jugar als amistosos de la gira?
Does this affect playing friendlies?
No, perquè són jugadors en contracte amb vigor del Barça, lògicament estan...
No, because these are players who have contracts with Barca, they're working for us and there's no problem. They'll play normally for us.
12 estiguin en condició de debutar...
On the 12th they'll be ready for the start of the league on the 12th of August.
Aquí. Bienvenido, Frank, mucha suerte. Mi pregunta es para el presidente del Barça, para Joan Laporta. Se ha hablado de muchos nombres, presidente, en estas últimas semanas que pueden reforzar el equipo. Mi pregunta es, ¿qué mensaje se le puede mandar al aficionado del Barça de ilusión, de equipo competitivo, de cara a la próxima temporada? Y si esos fichajes que se van a realizar...
What kind of excitement is there around Barca about the next season?
Para que el equipo pueda competir por la Champions, que es la espinita clavada que se tiene en el club en los últimos años. Gracias.
Do you think this Barcelona can compete in the Champions League?
Por todas las competiciones en las que participemos. Això és segur.
We're going to compete in all the competitions
that
we compete in.
Més competitiu del que
we'll have a more competitive team.
Tenemos ahora. ¿Por qué? Porque hacemos ya incorporaciones como Franck Kessie.
Why? Because we've got signings like Franck Kessie.
Otras incorporaciones que tenemos previstas que las haremos en el momento en que tengamos la capacidad para hacerlo. La capacidad para hacerlo depende de que podamos inscribirlos.
The moment we're able to register them.
Yo el mensaje al barcelonismo es que crean el trabajo que estamos haciendo.
They believe in the work we're doing.
Estoy convencido de que si creemos lo conseguiremos.
Convinced that if we believe in it, we will achieve it.
Tanto por lo que hace referencia a las palancas como a la inscripción de jugadores de este mercado de verano que reforzarán el primer equipo del Barça.
Players, this.
Hola, aquí el Bernal del diari Ara. Benvingut. Gracias. Buen día, presidente. Una pregunta para usted. Daniel Chanona, de TUDN. Quiero preguntarle por el Joan Gamper que se va a jugar en agosto.
I want to ask about the Gamper Trophy, which will be played in
¿Fue una
August.
realidad? ¿Existía esa posibilidad? ¿Hay una puerta abierta por el vínculo que hay con Rafa Márquez?
Is there a door open with the link you got with Rafa Márquez?
Por invitar a los Pumas.
To invite Pumas.
La verdad es que la opción era los Pumas. No hemos podido,
the option was the Pumas.
De alguna manera, como le diría, tampoco hemos ido a sondear el mercado, hemos visto que los Pumas estaban dispuestos, es un equipo que nos gusta, con el que tenemos buena relación, que además estoy seguro que será un buen espectáculo futbolístico, el mexicano que siempre pues lo da todo, aparte de la calidad que tienen.
In addition to the quality that they've got in that team.
Otras opciones. En el mercado mexicano hay en la Liga Mexicana hay grandes equipos, pero la opción que se nos planteó, y la verdad es que nos pareció muy bien, fue la de los Pumas y es la que hemos elegido. Las conversaciones que haya tenido el departamento en este sentido, no sé si han hablado con el Atlas del América o otros clubes, pero en principio la opción que teníamos encima de la mesa, lo que a mí me dijeron era la de los Pumas.
Hola, aquí el Bernal del diari Ara. Benvingut, Frank. La meva pregunta és pel president o pel director de futbol, Mateu Alemany, però en referència al president ha parlat que també amb l'activació de la segona palanca això també pot ajudar a les sortides. En quin sentit ho comenta?
The president has spoken about the new lever which could work as well as departures.
Alleugerir l'operació.
How can the second lever help you?
La segona palanca ja ens donarà la capacitat de l'1 a 1 I aleshores ja podrem concretar les operacions que tenim treballades. I jo crec que aleshores també hi ha jugadors que l'entrenador no compta amb ells, que si veu les noves incorporacions, també el jugador el que vol és jugar com a professional. I això podria, entenc que ajudar.
At the end of the day, what they want to do is come play. And that, I don't know if you want to add anything. It seemed not.
Buen día, Adrián Regás en directo para el programa El 10 del Barça. Mi pregunta es para Frank.
My question is for Frank.
Me gustaría saber en qué apartado crees que puedes ayudar más al equipo.
How do you feel you can help most the team with the ball getting into the area or
la construcción del juego, tanto protegiendo la pelota como
protecting the ball or winning back possession?
Come ho detto 2 minuti fa, ho detto la posizione non importa.
As I said a couple of minutes ago,
lo fa l'allenatore. Io mi metto a servizio.
My position doesn't depend on me, it's down to the coach. I work hard and the coach makes the choice.
Marc Fuster para Jugones decía que no puede hablar de nombres concretos, pero no sé si puede descartar rotundamente el de Cristiano Ronaldo.
Names specifically, but can you rule out specifically Cristiano Ronaldo as a signing?
No voy a hablar de jugadores ni
I'm not going to talk
en
about
un sentido
players
ni en otro sentido.
In any one sense or the other.
De jugadores porque no.
Don't ask me about players.
No lo voy a hacer.
I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to draw into it.
No aporta nada hablar de jugadores a los intereses del Barça.
Doesn't bring anything to Barca to talk about players.
Yo aquí no quiero entrar en evaluar todo esto porque luego podría malinterpretarse.
Get into all this here. I don't want to be misinterpreted, so let's not talk about.
Hola, Víctor Malo de Culemania. ¿Qué tal? Bon dia. Pregunta pel president. Tinc entès que ahir van tenir una reunió sobre la segona palanca. Tinc entès que estan accelerant
yesterday there was a meeting about the second lever.
Creu que arribaran a tenir la llesta abans del 15 de juliol, com va dir recentment?
Do you think it's going to be ready before the 15th of July?
Un cop es tinguin els diners de les palanques, com volen invertir aquests 600 milions que es contemplen?
Money from that, how do you want to invest that? Do you think it's going to be on debts? How do you think it's all going to be covered?
Precisament com utilitzarem aquests diners. Hi ha una part que anirà al retorn del part del deute, una altra part serà inversió per fer equips més competitius i en aquest sentit tot plegat anirà a que tinguem uns fons propis en positiu, que això és molt important als efectes de la qualificació que fan les agències de rating de les entitats, en aquest cas del Barça. Sí, ja hem començat a treballar. Ja saps que aquesta segona, el grau de dificultat és més gran que la primera. I m'explico, torna a obrir-se un ventall de possibilitats perquè hi ha fons que volen invertir en aquesta operació i falta també aconseguir la dispensa que estic convençut que l'aconseguirem, ens ho han comunicat per part de Goldman Sachs del 15%, que sabeu que està en aquests moments
Goldman Sachs, for example, have communicated that they'll invest 15%.
Ja el 10% ja estava previst.
That now will cover the debt that we have with them.
Això es farà i el que sí que ahir estàvem treballant perquè Goldman Sachs es mogui el més ràpid que pugui per aconseguir aquesta dispensa.
Goldman Sachs to move forward as fast as possible.
Els inversors, que són els que han de donar el seu vistiplau i que confiem que això vagi el més ràpid possible. Per què et dic això? Perquè dius quin dia? Nosaltres volem fer-ho quan abans, perquè sí que tenim com a avantatge comparativa respecte a l'anterior operació, que ja sabem com es fa i que ja s'han superat una sèrie d'obstacles que ara ja no els tindrem. Però sí que el que volem és que vagi ràpid el tema del 15%.
We know how this works. We've overcome already a series of obstacles. We know how this needs to work.
I la idea seria doncs, fer-ho aquest mes de juliol.
That 15% is already advanced.
A partir jo crec que el 15 serà molt
during the month of July.
Per tant, jo crec que hauré de retardar la meva anada als Estats
will be a bit tight for us.
Però el desig és que sigui doncs, la segona quinzena de juliol.
So perhaps there'll be a delay in terms of because we're flying to the States, but we should be looking towards another 15%.
Hola, bona tarda. Aquí Guillem Borras para Iniestazo. Buena tarde, presidente Mateu. Mi pregunta es para Frank. Antes has hablado de que te da igual en qué posición jugar, que estás a disposición del entrenador.
Frank, you said you don't really mind which play you're in.
Que hablaste con Xavi.
You said you've spoken with Xavi.
Muy importante ese diálogo para.
How important was Xavi's dialogue with you to convince you to come here?
Quando un allenatore che ha un nome come Xavi,
when a coach with the kind of name that Xavi has calls you up, you can be happy because that means that your work is being recognized and it's good. I spoke with him.
Non c'è tanti giocatori che puoi dire anche no a Barcelona.
There aren't many players who can say that they're coming to Barcelona to be part of the best team in the world. I spoke with Xavi, and Xavi spoke about how important I was going to be to the club. I thought about it and I made the decision to come.
Buenas. José Luis Olivares, para Más que Pelotas. Esta es una pregunta para Frank.
It's a question for Frank.
Básicamente, tienes 25 años, una experiencia muy dilatada en Europa.
26 years old and you've got lots of experience in Europe. What do you think about the young midfielders here at Barca?
Gracias.
Devo dare confidenza, devo lavorare con loro per vedere tutto. Fino adesso
I can give them confidence, but I have to work with them. I have to see how they work. I'm very keen to hurry up and meet the team and the coaching staff and play with my new teammates.
Benvingut al Barça, Juli Claramunt en directe al Twitch de Gigantes. Per què a Itàlia et coneixen com a El Presidente? Gràcies.
Why do they know you as El Presidente in Italy?
Il Presidente mi sono fatto chiamato così al Milan perché una volta sono arrivato con la
macchina. He called me that at Milan because one time I arrived by car at the training facility and I parked where the president parked.
Devo parcheggiare da un'altra parte. Io ho detto no, che da oggi.
And his security guard came over and told me to park it somewhere else. So after that time, they started calling me the new president.
Hola, bon dia als tres. Joan Seixas, de Televisió Espanyola. La meva pregunta és pel Frank. Hablabas ahora de la confianza que ha transmitido el técnico Xavi Hernández, pero viendo la competencia en el centro del campo del Barça, ¿tú te ves titular?
But do you see yourself as being a starter for Barca?
Gracias.
No, come ho detto, ancora l'ho detto la stessa cosa.
As I said before, I'll repeat, I have to start working. You win your place on the pitch. You don't win it by talking. You don't win it by saying that you're going to be a starter. You earn it like everybody in your training sessions, and it's the coach who decides.
Tanquem ara el torn de preguntes I abans d'acabar
that brings to a close this press conference.
A Franck Kessie per recordar aquesta jornada.
And the act, we've got a little gift here for Franck Kessie to remember this day.
La presentació.
We'll ask him for an autograph and we will end the presentation.
And that is the presentation of Franck Kessie as a new Barca player. Well, one down, another to go, because tomorrow Andres Christensen will be live on Barca TV Plus, 12:30. His presentation gets underway. We will have presentation on the pitch again, plus another press conference to look forward to. But Franck Kessie, the man of the day, presented as a new Barca player.
I ara sí, donarem per acabada aquesta presentació. Moltes gràcies, companys.
Ronaldinho, se va Ronaldinho, continúa Ronaldinho, vamos Ronaldinho, 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 gol, 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 gol.
Mientras tú tienes el balón, el otro no puede marcar un gol.